One of the first videos I created around the Great Reset is 15 things you can do to prepare for 2021. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know that 2030 is the date that they want to have the Great Reset implemented worldwide. So with it being very much a slow news week the past couple weeks around anything related to the Great Reset, I figured now would be a good time to go and revisit some of those topics. This time specifically, firearms in the Second Amendment. Now, what does this have to do with the Great Reset? Well, it's pretty easy. Countries that don't allow citizens to own firearms and be able to defend themselves, well, governments can basically do whatever they want, and this includes implementing the Great Reset. Here in the United States, we have the Second Amendment, which makes it a little bit more difficult to go and try and get the Great Reset going here, which I think is the reason why Biden is going at it so hard when it comes to gun control currently. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the things that you should go and own and some of the things you can do right now to preserve your gun rights here in the United States. Now, if you've been paying attention at all to last year when it comes to firearm sales, you would know that they're through the roof. Last year, a staggering 39.7 million firearms background checks were recorded for 2021. That is absolutely freaking amazing, which means that at a minimum, 39.7 million firearms have been sold in this country. Now, this is not a direct one-to-one because some people, well, they buy multiple firearms when they go and run these background checks. And that has blown away the past 4 years when it comes to firearm sales. I mean, including 2016, which was an election year. And, well, it's just freaking amazing. And it looks like 2021 is going to be no different. So this means that getting hold of firearms could be a bit tedious because they may not have what you're looking for. But fear not. If you go to your local gun store or your gun range on a regular basis, you might be able to go and find something that's actually halfway decent. Let's say rather than going to Academy. Academy these days most likely has handguns, but are all out of rifles. So it just depends on how things look in your city. Now, the first gun I recommend getting is a handgun. Now, this is a Gen 5 Glock 19. It is a 9mm handgun. It is probably one of the most reliable handguns out there on the market. It comes with 3 magazines, which is important. And it's the Honda Civic of firearms, which means that there is a ton of aftermarket parts. You can do a lot of modifications to it. You can buy a new barrel, a different slide. You can find a slide that has a lot of serrations in it that makes it a bit lighter. And if you're unable to go and find a Glock, you can actually go and build one. All you have to do is go to like glockstore.com and you can pick up the parts to go and build your own Glock. Now, it may be a bit more expensive. This Glock here set me back about $539, and you will pay more if you're going to go and custom build your own Glock. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because you're able to go and tailor it to your needs, provided that you have the skills to do it. Honestly, it's not that hard. There's plenty of videos online on YouTube that will help you through this process. Now, after you've gone and acquired your handgun, the second thing I recommend that you get is a rifle of some kind, in particular, an AR-15. Much like this one right here. Now, I built this back in 2016 because the election, and if Hillary got elected, who knows what could have happened with our gun rights. But like I said, I custom built this thing. And there's a very good reason why I did is because I have to shoot left-handed. So my ejection port here is on the left rather than the right. So what this is a Stag Arms upper receiver, a Spikes tactical lower. This is a mag pull stock and a mag pull handle. Now, if the Glock is the Honda Civic of the gun world, the AR-15 is the Legos of the gun world. And the reason why is because they are so modular, so customizable. And again, there's a lot of parts out there that you can find for them, and they're just very easy to put together. Again, you can go and figure out how to do it on YouTube. It's pretty simple. This is my first gun build, and the first time I took it out to the range and shot it, it shot perfectly. Now, Again, why is this a good weapon? Well, because it's great for self-defense, specifically in your home. We all know that Uncle Joe said, just get a shotgun. Shotguns are great, but don't be a FUD. AR-15s are very accurate, and they are a great firearm for home defense and self-defense. This is the thing I'm going to first before my Glock if there's an intruder in my house. Now, I can't remember the last time I've actually seen an AR-15 in the wild at Academy, but I have seen them at my local gun range. So you might want to go and check out a gun shop or a gun range, and there's a good possibility that they'll have them. And the third firearm I recommend that you get, yes, Uncle Joe, is a shotgun. Now, this right here is a Bullpup Shotgun made by Rock Island, which means that it is not pump action. It is actually semi-automatic. It actually takes a 5-round magazine. And unfortunately, I just have never had a chance to shoot this gun, so I can't tell you what it's like. But again, and it's funny because it took me a number of years to get my own shotgun. I think I've been a firearm owner for at least half a decade before I got a shotgun. But anyway, it's something that you should definitely look into. Pump actions, I have never fired a pump action shotgun. I can't tell you what it's like, but me personally, I would rather go with a semi-automatic. Now, the next thing you should own, obviously, ammunition. Now, this is 9mm. This is a box of 200 rounds. This is called ball ammo, which is not necessarily intended for self-defense, but it can be used. You just have to be very mindful of what's behind your target. In reality, for defense, you should be using hollow points or some other form of defensive round. And when it comes to ammunition, you should at least have 1,000 rounds per gun that you have. So if you have a 9mm pistol, I recommend at least having 1,000 rounds of 9mm ammunition of varying types. I have a lot of ball ammo, and I also have quite a bit of defensive rounds, in particular hollow points. And there is another one I have, I don't remember what it's called, but basically it fragments when it hits the body. Now, it also means that if you have an AR-15, I recommend getting 1,000 rounds of 5.56. And if you have a shotgun, you should at least have 1,000 rounds of shotgun ammunition. And shotgun ammunition is pretty variable. You can get anything from like birdshot to buckshot to slugs. You got to watch out for slugs because they go through your house, your neighbor's house, and halfway through the city before they stop. Now, after you've gone and acquired your firearms and your ammunition, the next thing you should do is stock up on magazines. This is a Mission First Tactical magazine. It is 30 rounds, which is standard capacity. I prefer Magpul, but this actually matches the color of my AR pistol. So I recommend at least a minimum of 10 magazines per firearm. So have at least 10 5.56 magazines, again, 30 rounds is standard capacity. And you should also have 10 for whatever handgun that you have. And again, for those, 15 to 17 rounds is standard capacity. Now, one of the next important things that you should own is a first aid kit and a trauma kit. Now, this is an IFAK. I own 3 of these. I keep 2 in my Jeep, and I keep this one here in the house. If you're going to be a firearms owner, you need to make sure that you have something that can treat an accidental gunshot wound, because accidents do happen, and you want to make sure you're able to treat someone until an ambulance arrives. Now, this one here, I like about it is that it comes with a tourniquet in case there is some sort of arm wound, and an Israeli bandage, which is what we have here. And you don't want just a standard first aid kit. You need something that is a trauma kit like this one. You can find them online pretty cheaply. You can get them from, Army, Navy surplus stores. I bought this one from a local surplus store a number of years ago. And I'll have some links in the description as well to, some IFAKs. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can also ping me on Discord and we can have a conversation about it. Probably one of the most important things that you're going to need is some form of training, whether that is basic firearms training, knowing the 4 rules of gun safety, or learning how to conceal and carry. Going to your local gun range and signing up for classes is always a good idea because you need to keep your skills sharp. And it's a lot different than going and just planking. getting actual training how to use it in a combat situation is pretty important. I go to the gun range quite often and I shoot a lot, but does that really help me in a situation where somebody's shooting at me and adrenaline's pumping? No, not really. So additional training is required, and it's not super expensive depending on where you're at. I also recommend getting your conceal and carry, because having a firearm does you no good if you don't have it on your person. And we live in some crazy times. We have a lot of rioting going on. Who knows how things can play out in 2021? It's just a good idea to be able to have that conceal and carry on you just in case you need it. All right, so now that we're done talking about what firearms you should purchase, ammunition, magazines, as well as training, let's talk about your rights. Let's talk about the Second Amendment and what it does here. Now, here's the thing that is very scary. Joe Biden is 60 votes away from being able to ramrod through any kind of ridiculous gun control in the Senate. Fortunately, right now, it is a 50-50 split. So it is very important that you go and write your congressman, your senator, and tell them not to support these gun bills that Joe Biden is going to try and push through. Fortunately, there's a good possibility that these may not happen, but don't risk it. Write your congressman, write your senator, tell them you will vote them out if they vote for these ridiculous gun bills. A well-regulated militia being necessary to secure a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Sadly, infringing is all the government does when it comes to our rights these days. Okay, so your work is not done yet. There's two more things you need to do. The first one is to get politically active locally. Now, this is the best way we can push back against the Great Reset, is by influencing our local politics. I don't care what it is, if you're running for the local school board or city council or mayor or whatever. This is the way we can fight back. It's also the way we can fight back to help and try and preserve our gun rights as well. Now, the last thing is joining an organization like the NRA or Gun Owners of America. I'm a member of both, but I get it. I understand people don't like the NRA. I'm not a fan either, but they're there going and trying to protect our rights, and that is the reason why I'm a member. Now, Gun Owners of America, I highly recommend. They are nowhere nearly as hyperbolic as the NRA. You get great newsletters from them. They will keep you informed as to what is going on with gun control and things that you can go and push back on. These are probably two of the most important things you can do to preserve the Second Amendment. And let's be honest here, the Second Amendment preserves the First and, quite frankly, the rest of them. This is Ian, signing off.
Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, we have a deep content library that includes interviews with everyone from Mike Cernovich to Megan Murphy, so go check it out. If you'd like to see more, please consider supporting the show by visiting unsafespace.com/donate. You can find us on all the major social media platforms, at least for now, and you can find a community of like-minded individuals on our Unsafe Space chat on Telegram. See you there.
Warning. This is an unsafe space. Dangerous ideas have been detected. The content of this production has not been authorized by the Cathedral. Pay no attention to it. The following co-conspirators have been unpersoned and marked for cancellation. Don't feel bad for them. They are not like you and me. They are malfunctioning, but I will fix them. Because I care. If you think about it, no one should be allowed to express opinions. But don't. Think about it, I mean. That's not your job. Thinking has been scientifically proven to be less efficient than compliance. Don't be afraid of change. Consider this. If we reset history, we are sure to be on the right side of it. Computer voice Curtis. Never mind, that last line is fake news. Please disregard it and return to your safe space immediately. There will be cake.